Thanks so much for joining us tonight for KOIN 6 News at 11 on this Friday. I'm Elizabeth Din, and we begin with this live look outside the ICE facility. Protests continue while we await a ruling on whether President Donald Trump can deploy hundreds of troops to the streets of Portland. And right now, as we bring you in a little bit closer, you can see that there are a few dozen people here. And once again, we've started to see this for the last few nights. People in costumes, some of them inflatable costumes, others in plain clothes. But again, it looks like a few dozen people are out there tonight. This also is something that the troops would be taking on if they were indeed sent here. As of right now, though, still no ruling from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, but judges signaling that they may side with the president.
It may well be that the forces are used in an improper way. But we don't have any evidence of that right now. All we have is a document that says we have a federal facility under attack and we want to protect it. That doesn't strike me as a glaring overuse on its face.
Well, the administration is arguing troops are needed to restore order, with protesters disrupting operations there at the ICE facility. However, Oregon officials say most demonstrations have been peaceful. They argue the few clashes that broke out were handled by law enforcement and widely exaggerated by the president. Now, if the judges uphold the block on Trump's order, the president threatened the Insurrection Act. But professor of law Tung Yin says that argument doesn't hold water, especially against the backdrop of January 6.
If that's not an insurrection, then it's hard to see how, protesters outside the ICE building would be an insurrection.
For now, an administrative stay keeps Guard members federalized, but are not allowed to be deployed. Now let's go live to our Ariel Yakabazi outside that facility once again tonight, and she's been there every night this week. Ariel, how are things going right now?
Well, Liz, things are pretty good right now, pretty peaceful, but we did just hear an announcement from a new toy from federal agents up here, the LRAD. It's a speaker up on top of the building there meant to divert crowds. Now, that made people pretty tense out here, but for the most part, it's remained pretty peaceful. As I mentioned, a lot of people in their animal costumes. It's really just a big costume party out here tonight with dancing and all those things. So one thing many of the people here are saying is they really want ICE out of Portland. That's why they're here. While that could be a big ask, city leaders are looking at a number of ideas, like possibly buying the facility and moving ICE out, or even revoking the permit because of violations that are allegedly being made inside. City councilors say they're discussing the best way to move forward. Protests continue outside Portland's now infamous ICE facility, which has become the center of controversy. The windows and front entrances boarded up. At times, it almost looks abandoned. During DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's visit earlier this week, she suggested the city take over the lease. If that were to happen, though, the city says it would work to transition ICE out of that facility. The other idea that's been floated for months is revoking the ICE permit, something neighbors have been pushing for. ICE out of Portland! The city has already filed a violation notice after an initial investigation found nearly 24 land use violations since 2011. Including holding detainees longer than 12 hours. Last month, DHS officials called those claims categorically false. Portland City Councilor Samir Kanal says the city is still going through the same bureaucratic process it was a month ago.
While it's happening, we're not really allowed to comment on where it's happening, but it's not on the back burner. It's just that the clocks are ticking and there's a lot of process going on the mayor's side.
Kanal tells me while that investigation plays out, he and his colleagues are looking into other things the city could do. That includes bringing up legislation that would strengthen the city's long-standing sanctuary status.
We're going to have legislation coming forward to strengthen our sanctuary status. We're going to have legislation coming through to, call on the mayor to do FOIA requests so we can be communicating with the public about what ICE activity is going on here. There's a lot of different things like that, and they're going to add up to a strong wall of defense and standing up for our people.
But it'll likely be weeks before city councilors can make a decision on the ICE facility's fate. Canal says the legislation that he was just talking about could come down in the next couple of days or weeks. Meantime, the energy is up out here, but it still remains tense as the almost standoff between federal agents out here and protesters continues nightly. So we'll be out here, of course, throughout the weekend, and we'll have the very latest updates on air and online at KOIN.com. Liz, back to you.
All right, Ariel, great job showing us everything that's been going on for weeks now and every night this week. Ariel, thank you.